You was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 104. The album that we're reviewing today is Ghostface Killah's debut album, Ironman, released in 1996. You guys should know who Ghostface Killah is. I did a review on the Supreme Clientele album. I believe it was like 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But I do have it. Just go on my channel, just look for it. Just type in Ghostface, and it should pop up. Ghostface, he's part of Wu-Tang, you know what I mean? He definitely one of the most, prolific members out of the whole group. I mean, right now, even today, like, he's putting in mad work. And what I like about Ghostface is that he's always been himself. He never switched up. Besides the Pretty Tony album, which I didn't care for. I did a review on that too as well. The Pretty Tony album I wasn't too crazy about. That's when he was with Def Jam. He kind of went commercial, but when he did the next album, he kind of went back to his old ways and shit like that. But regarding that, Ghostface Killah came out with this album back in 1996. You guys know about Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links. He was featured on that album like it was crazy, like it was like his album as well. Same thing goes for this album too, because Raekwon is on a lot of these tracks. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the flood that RZA had back in the mid-90s. I believe he had it back in like 94, 95, where there was a flood in his basement that destroyed all the equipment, all the songs, and he had to redo like a lot of the songs and stuff like that. He did that for a couple of other albums. Like this album fell victim to that. Believe Inspector Dex and Uncontrolled Substance was part of that flood too. But among other things. But get into this album, like I said, it's his debut album. Singles off this album, there's 4 singles. The singles are Kame, Daytona 500, Motherless Child, and All That I Got Is You. Alright? Producers on the album, RZA does the whole album. He does the production on all of the beats, which I love because this is RZA, my favorite era of RZA, like from 92 to like 98, 98. That's my favorite time period of RZA as far as his production and stuff like that. Or I would just say as far as like up to 2000, I would say. But yeah, definitely from 92 to like 2000 are my favorite time periods as far as RZA's production. Like I said, the production is done by RZA. Features on the album, there's mad features. This album is feature heavy. Raekwon and Cappadonna, RZA, and like I said, he does the production too. You Got Master Killer, Method Man, and Street Life, but they don't call him Street Life. They just have it as Street. So I'm assuming they're talking about Street Life. Cappadonna, shout out to Cappadonna. Delphonics, they're actually on this album, and Mary J. Blige. Alright, now I'll get down. I'm gonna go through some of the tracks, but before I get into that, one thing about this album, like around this time when Ghostface, was started recording this album, he found out, or when he was recording this album, he found out that he was diagnosed with diabetes. And so, there's an interview. If I find it, I'll try to post it in the description box. It's like one of those magazine scans, like from back in the day. But and he talks about how he was diagnosed with diabetes, and then that shit really took a toll on him. So he just started eating right, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. It's really dope. It's a dope interview. But I just want to throw that out there. Track 1, Iron Maiden, featuring Raekwon and Cappadonna. Dope track. Dope way to start the album. Kind of sets the tone of the album. They all do their thing. Just like a posse cut, you know what I mean? Just Raekwon and Cappadonna, they all do their thing. Fucking love that track. Pretty dope. Track 2, Wildflower. That's a solo track by Ghostface Killah. That song, he pretty much talks about pussy. It's a sex track. It's all about how he fucking his one bitch, which I'm assuming is like his side piece or whatever. Just kind of like if you guys heard Stapleton Sex, it's pretty much the same thing, but in the '96 version of it, but not as explicit. Not as explicit as Stapleton Sex, but with that song, he talks about how this shorty that he's fucking with and shit like that. You know, just kind of like a jump off, just a jump off and shit like that. But then he found out that, you know, she cheated on the nigga, you know, with this Rasta dude, and you know he caught feelings about that. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You know, some cats, you know, they get a jump off. You know what, you know the rule. Don't catch feelings, but he caught feelings in that joint. So he felt some type of way. He's like, yo, when I see this chick, like, you know, I'm gonna snuff her, I'm gonna slap the shit out of her. But his man's just like, nah, don't even get into that, don't even step to that level. And you know, what I got from that track is like, he pretty much had the last laugh because she's the hoe, and like, you know, like that's all you're gonna be amount to, just being a hoe. And I just got my nut, and I got my I got the last laugh. That's what I got from that track, Wildflower. Track 3, The Faster Blade featuring Raekwon. I mean, oh my god, such a dope track. Raekwon did his thing on this track. He stole the show in that song, in my opinion. Faster Blade. Is that the solo track? Let me see. Yeah, Faster Blade was a solo track by Raekwon. Ghostface is not on this song. Definitely dope. It kind of remind me of that song Wisdom Body with Ghostface Killah, because there's an original version of that song Wisdom Body with just Raekwon, but on the Only Built for Cuban Links version, Ghostface Killah is the only member of the, he is a Ghostface solo track of on Raekwon's album. So Faster Blade is Raekwon's Wisdom Body. That's what I got from that, and it's just a braggadocio track and stuff like that. Track 4, 260. It's pretty much a drug street tale track, you know, which a lot of the songs are based on that. A lot of the songs, if you guys are familiar with Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon, you know, a lot of the songs are like drug tales and stuff like that. What I like about Raekwon, which he doesn't really do anymore, is that his use for geography. Like, for example, like, I'm just gonna paraphrase, like, it's not something like, oh, yo, my man Miguel from Chicago chill with his shorty from Germany, you know, like, just some shit like that. Just like the way he does that, but he does it with such finesse. It's just, he kills that shit. I love that, you know, and he doesn't really do that no more, man, which is unfortunate. 260 Degrees, like I said, this is a drug tell track, pretty dope. Track 5, Assassination Day, featuring Raekwon, RZA, Inspector Deck, and Master Killah. For some reason, Master Killah is not credited on this track, but he is on the track. My opinion, Inspector Deck had the best verse on the track. It could have been an Inspector Deck track. That's how dope that shit was. They all did their thing. It's a dope track. Love it. Love the beat. But I feel like Inspector Deck stole the show on that track. He did his thing. Master Killah, he did his thing. At first, when I first heard it, I felt like it didn't really fit the album. It didn't really fit the beat. Like, obviously the subject matter did, but if you guys know about Master Killah, his laid back flow is like very laid back, and he needs certain beats to rap over. There's times that he does get more up tempo, but in this track he kind of, you know, fell back, kind of fell asleep. But then when I listened to it again before I did this track, before I'm doing this review, I was like, okay, like he actually did his thing. You know, definitely, you know, he definitely did his thing on the track. But I feel like Inspector Deck definitely stole the show on the track. One thing I've noticed with that song, Ghostface is not on that song. For some reason, I don't know why. Didn't make sense to me, but regardless, the features, they all did their thing, so I'm not really complaining about it too much. But it would have been dope if I heard Ghostface. But like I said, Inspector Deck stole the show on that track. Track 6, Poisonous Darts. Yeah, that's just another braggadocio track by Ghostface Killah. That's a Ghostface Killah solo track. Very, very dope. Fucking love the beat on that joint right there. One thing about the production of this album, it definitely has like a real 70s vibe to it. Kind of like with Only Built for Cuban Links, but except for Only Built for Cuban Links had like a late 60s, early 70s type of vibe. But with this album, he uses a lot more soul samples. Not to say that he didn't do it with the other joints, but in this album, like, that was the theme of the album. It had like that real 70s vibe of the album, and then, you know, that's what I love. And he also uses just like with Only Built for Cuban Links and Liquid Swords, he started using a lot of synths, and yeah, he used a lot of synths and stuff like that. He started experimenting, but it's dope. You know what I mean? He didn't like, it's not corny like today's, how niggas do synths today. He did his thing on that joint right there. Track 7, Winter Wars, featuring Cappadonna, You Got It, Master Killah, and I believe Raekwon is on that track too. Yeah, he just does the chorus. Dope posse cut. That song is actually featured on. It's actually featured on what's that? Don't Be a Menace soundtrack. Fucking classic joint. You know, when people think of Ironman, they automatically think of that song, Winter Wars. That's like one of the main songs of the album. It's so dope. It should have been a single. What's interesting fact on that song, Winter Wars, is that because like I said, with the flood, RZA, he kind of lost all the joints. Like, he lost all the beats and like the production and all the vocals and stuff like that. And it's crazy because Cappadonna himself says that, like, RZA came to find the masters. I guess like the masters got destroyed or whatever from the flood, that there's no instrumental version of the song. So anytime he performs a song, he has to perform the song with the words on top of it, which I didn't know, which makes sense. Which I always thought why was that, but I thought that was pretty interesting to know. But Cappadonna, to me, he had the best verse in the song, and he had the longest verse in the whole song. He goes last, but he fucking kills that shit right there. I gotta do a review on his Pillage album, which I do have in my collection. I'll do it sometime. I don't know when, but because I got mad albums I gotta cover. But yeah, Winter Wars by Cappadonna, You Got It, Master Killah, and Raekwon, who does the chorus. That should have been a single. I would have loved to see the video for that. And there is a video for it, but Cappadonna just does does his verse on it. And Forbes DVD by Doggy Diamonds. He does, like, he did the video and shit like that. It's like a retro throwback video, like, it's modern, but it's like a retro tribute to that, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I got from that. Track 8, Box in Hand, featuring Method Man and Street. But it's crazy because, like, the track listing on this is wrong. I'm looking at Wikipedia and it made more sense. The Force MDs, which they're not featured on the joint. Yes, Force MDs, Raekwon, Ghostface, and Method Man, which makes more sense, are featured on the track. It's interesting because there is an original version of Box in Hand, which I'll post in the description box. But I guess, he cut it out because of sample clearances, which Ghostface is he's no stranger to sample clearances. Like, he's like one of the biggest victims when it comes to, like, sample clearances and stuff like that. RZA in general. But yeah, dope track. I kind of wish that I like the beat of the album without the whole track, but that synth instrumental in the beginning, I wish they used that instead of the main track, if that makes sense, as the main track. Because if you hear the instrumental version of Box in Hand, they use that synth instrumental as a whole track, and I wish they did that for this track. But overall, dope track, dope posse cut, very dope. Track 9, Fish, featuring Raekwon and Cappadonna. Just another dope drug tail track. They all do their thing. Love the beat of that track of that song. Guru actually used that same sample off his from his Jasmine Task Part 2 of the song Looking Through the Darkness. Dope track. Rest in peace to Guru. Fucking love that joint right there. Fish, they all do their thing. I think Raekwon had the best verse off that song in my opinion. Very, very dope. It's definitely sounded like something that would have been on Only Built for Cuban Links, in my opinion. Track 10, Kame, featuring Raekwon and Cappadonna. Dope video for it too. Love the black and white. You know, I believe Hype Williams did the video for that joint too. That song is pretty much talking about pussy. Pretty much it's talking about, you know, just trying to hire the chick, just trying to get into their drawers, and then, you know, they get into it and just talk about their experience and stuff like that. That's what I got from the song. So Kame is pretty much pussy, pretty much. It's just the slang word for pussy. That's what I got from that joint right there. Track 11, Daytona 500, featuring Raekwon and Cappadonna. Love the video for it. It's an animated video. It just uses clips from Speed Racer. All my 70s heads, 70s babies and 80s babies, and even some on 90s babies, you guys would know about Speed Racer. Fucking love that cartoon. The movie sucked with Emil Hirsch, whatever his name is. That movie sucked. That I was not feeling that. Not song, excuse me. The movie sucked. The live action movie sucked. The cartoons are better. But anyways, they use clips of Speed Racer, but the way they have it syncopated with the characters kind of like singing the verse, if that makes sense, kind of goes with the song, and it's pretty dope. It's just see, you know, Speed Racer, like, you know, like just racing throughout the tracks, racing throughout the courses and stuff like that. Pretty dope. Love that joint right there. Again, Raekwon to me had the best verse on the track. Ghostface, they all do their thing. Cappadonna did his thing, but Raekwon, he starts off with the track, had the best verse, and that's it. Track 12, Motherless Child featuring Raekwon. Love the beat of the album. Love the video. I love everything about that joint right there. That song was actually featured on the Sunset Park soundtrack. Dope movie, dope soundtrack, underrated movie in my opinion. Dope. If you like basketball, then you'll like Sunset Park. But Motherless Child, I mean, it's another drug tail track. Very, very dope. The video for this is mad gritty. Love that joint right there. Track 13, Black Jesus featuring Raekwon and You God. That was a cool track. Wasn't too crazy about that joint right there. The beat is cool, but I don't know. I just wasn't crazy about that joint too much. Track 14, after the smoke is clear, featuring the Delphonics, which features Ghostface Killah, Raekwon, and RZA, which are featured on the track. Very, very, very dope track. Yeah, love that joint right there. Track 15, All I Got Is You, which was a single featuring Mary J. Blige, which is crazy because if you see the video of All I Got Is You, Mary J. Blige is not even in the video. They replaced Mary J. Blige with Takita, who was a Wu-affiliated singer, who was a singer for Wu-Tang, which I thought she was a dope singer, but I wish she came out with an album. But you already know how that went, you know, with RZA and everybody else and stuff like that. But that song is pretty much a heartfelt track. It's just a tribute to his mother, who died back in the day. She talked about how he lived poor. Sorry about that. He lived poor. Just like talked about how he had to eat cereal for dinner and shit like that. Had, you know, roaches crawling on him and stuff like that. Like how he was like one kid of like mad kids. I think like 6 kids or some shit like that. Had like, you know, uncles, aunts, his grandparents all in the same house or apartment because he was living in the projects. And, you know, but just like the shit that his mother had to go through to provide for the kids, including Ghostface himself. And that's pretty much a dedication to the track, I mean to his mom. And pretty dope song right there. Dope single as well, dope video as well. Track 16, the last track, Marvel, featuring RZA. It's pretty much story about pussy too. Just story about it's another sex track. What's interesting is that there's a song called Soul Controller, which was actually featured on this album, but it was cut off. It was deleted off the album just due to sample clearances, and which sucked because that song is pretty dope. I'll post it down in the description box. It's easy to find on YouTube, but if you have the first version, the first pressing of Iron Man, definitely keep that, because that's I don't know if there was ever released. If it was, it's definitely a collector's item. So if you do have it, definitely keep that in your hands. Or if you want to sell it, whatever, that's on you. But I would keep that if I was you. And that's pretty much it, man. Overall, my favorite Ghostface album is my favorite. I just love the production. I love the grittiness, the rawness of the album. And I know a lot of people like Supreme Clientele over this album. And I'll tell you guys the differences between Iron Man and Supreme Clientele. With Iron Man, I felt like, you know, it was just in your face. You know, he didn't really go into details. He just wanted to show you guys how nice he was on the mic. That's what I got from the track. You just hear the rawness in his voice and stuff like that. And one thing about this album too was that, like I said, it suffered victim to the flood that RZA had back in the mid 90s. It's crazy too because a lot of the beats he had to redo, and also like he recorded in different studios, so which altered the sound of some of the beats and some of the vocals on the album. That's why if you listen to Motherless Child, his vocals sound a little bit different. Like his voice sounds a lot more deeper compared to his other stuff. Like, you know, he has like that high pitched voice, but with Motherless Child, his shit sounds a lot more deeper and stuff like that. But like I said, with Iron Man, it was like more in your face. I'm the illest. It's pretty much like show and prove type of joint. With Supreme Clientele, it's more cohesive. You know, it has like more of a theme, has more subject matters, you know, things like that. That's an album that actually suffered a lot of sample clearances too. But and he got sued off a skit because of RZA sampling off of Iron Man, the cartoon that came out back in the 60s, which was crazy. But and it, yeah, which I thought was kind of crazy, but I don't know. And he got sued just because of the name of his album, Iron Man, which is fucking stupid in my opinion. But like I said, Supreme Clientele is more cohesive, has more subject matter, has a little bit, couple of fillers, not much with the song Shit Shit Like Ghost, which at first I didn't like the song when I first heard it, which is why I didn't fuck with Supreme Clientele for a couple years. But then when I heard it, I was like, okay, this shit is type ill. But with this album, it's just like the rawness. I mean, I just love the album covers. You see them niggas with the dope jackets, the whole bunch of Wallies and stuff like that. I mean, you can't go wrong with this joint right here. By far, I highly recommend this album right here. Ghostface Killah, Iron Man, released in 1986. Yeah, man. I would always like to compare this album with Only Built for Cuban Links. I always felt like this album kind of left off with Only Built for Cuban Links. Like only Cuban Links would be like the Black Caesar. If you guys seen the movie Black Caesar with Fred Williamson, and this would be Hell Up in Harlem, which was the sequel to Black Caesar. So this would be Hell Up in Harlem. I've always compared the two. I think they go hand in hand. That's just my opinion. But yeah, that's it. If you guys like the review, let me know. Stay tuned for more videos. Peace.